Hi guys, in this video I'll cover input and output. I demonstrate how to read user input from the console into a variable and how to output the value of a variable to the console. I first declare three variables. First one of type character, named letter, then of type int, named number, and then of type float, named temperature. Then I'll use the printf function to prompt the user to enter a letter. I'll use the scanf function to read in a character, and I specify this with the %c, so this will read in the character. Next, I add a comma, and then I specify where I want to store the character that I just read in. I'll use the ampersand followed by the variable name, letter. What the ampersand does, without going too much detail, is that it takes the address of the following variable. So it takes the address of letter and provides that address to the scanf function. So the scanf function now knows it should read a character and it knows where to store it. Then I use the printf function to output you entered, and here %c again. So I want to output a character at this position. There could be additional stuff. For example, you entered a character. Let's say I add ... So it knows it has to place a character at this position, and then with a comma I provide what character I want to output there. I could just specify the character like this, but I can also specify the variable name like letter. So let's run this. Here it prompts for the letter. I enter D, and here it reflects back the string that I had, and at the position we had %c, this is where it places the letter. I can also add a line break at the end, and I can run this again, and here it outputted the D. Now let me do that again with the integer. Printf, I prompt for a number, then I use scanf to read an integer. In this case I specify %d, D for digits. It can be more than one digit, but this is the syntax for an integer. And then I specify ampersand number. And then I use the printf function again and say you entered the number %d. And I use \n to add a line break at the end. But all I need to output an integer is the %d. Don't get confused by the \n. \n is really just a line break. It's separate from outputting the value of an integer. And here I specify the variable, so in this case number. The important thing, what you may have noticed already, is that when I read a value into a variable, I have to specify the ampersand. When I output it, I don't specify it. Now let's run this. So first the character, B, and then I enter, let's say 15, and here it reflects back, you entered the number 15. Finally, I want to do this with a float. So I prompt for temperature. Then I use the scanf function to read in a floating point. I use %f, temperature. Now I didn't specify the ampersand, so I run this one time without to see what you get. So here you can see exception, bad access. It's a bad access. I didn't provide a valid address, so in this case it thought it would use the address 0, and this is invalid, so the program crashed. So when you run into this exception, then you likely forgot the ampersand. So be sure to always specify the ampersand. Then I output it back. You entered temperature %f. And no, I want to output the temperature. And now let's run this. B, 15, and then some temperature. Let's say 50.75. And here I'd output it 50.75 with 6 digits after the decimal point. Now, many times you probably don't want to have 6 digits. You want to have your custom number of digits after the decimal point. So what you can do is, copy and paste this, instead of just writing %f, you put the dot, the decimal point, and then you specify the number of digits you want to have. For example, 1 would output 1 digit. Now let me also add a line break at the end. And I copy this a couple times. So what happens if I put .2? This will output 2 digits after the decimal point. .3 will output 3 digits. Now let's run this. And here let's output again 50.75. So what you can see here is if I don't specify anything, this one was just a %f, it will output 6 digits. That's the default value for the decimal, 4 digits after the decimal point. 0.1 will output 1 digit, 0.2, 2 digits, 0.3, 3 digits, and so on. Now, so far, I only outputted a single value in each printf statement, but you can output multiple values. You could, for example, output %d. Let's actually start with letter, %c, number, %d, and temperature, % with 2 %f, and here .2 for 2 decimal points. And now I need to specify a value for the first C, followed by the %d, followed by the %f. So the first value here I want to output is the letter. Oops, I need to close the string with quotes. So then I specify the letter. So this will be placed at the first %c here. Then I provide a number and then the temperature, a floating point. So it should match the type as well. So this one, the letter is a character, number is an integer, and temperature is a floating point value. Now I run this. Oops, let me actually restart. This one should have been a character. So 40, and let's say temperature 50.75. And here what you can see is it outputted letter, number 40, and temperature 50.75. So you can specify as many values of variables in a single statement, but you have to provide the values that you want to output. So if I have here, I want to output 3 values, I have to specify the 3 values following that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.